Hello everyone, this is Boomadevi, Assistant Professor of Economics, Sita Lakshmi Ramaswamy College, Trichinopalli. Today we are going to see an important concept in economics which is known as inflation. Inflation is a complex economic phenomenon that affects everyone from individuals to businesses and governments. It refers to a general increase in the price of goods and services over a period of time. Essentially, inflation means that your money buys less today than it did yesterday. While a certain level of inflation is considered healthy for a growing economy, high inflation can be detrimental. It can erode purchasing power, increase debt burdens, and can lead to economic instability. Understanding inflation is crucial for navigating personal finances, investing wisely, and making informed economic decisions. Inflation is a sustained increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over a time period. This means that the purchasing power of a unit of currency is decreasing. For example, if a loaf of bread cost 50 rupees last year and now it cost 55 rupees. That's a sign of inflation. The decrease in purchasing power means that the consumer needs to spend more money to buy the same quantity. The demand pull inflation occurs when there is a surge in demand for goods and services, but supply remains relatively constant. This can be driven by the increased consumer spending, government spending, or investment. Next, cost push inflation is a type of inflation that is triggered by increase in the cost of production. Factors like higher wages, raw materials, prices, or energy cost can push prices upward. Next, we are going to see the causes of inflation. There are several factors that can contribute to inflation. Some common causes include increased money supply. When the central bank prints more money, it can lead to inflation as there's more money chasing the same amount of goods and services. Next, demand pull inflation. As mentioned earlier, an increase in demand for goods and services without corresponding increase in supply can lead to price increases. Next, we have cost push inflation. Rising production costs such as increased energy prices can push businesses to raise prices to maintain the profitability. Next, we have supply chain disruptions. Global events like natural disaster or pandemic can disrupt supply chains and making goods more expensive. Next, we are moving to different types of inflation. We have demand pull inflation and cost push inflation. So, the demand pull inflation means the desire to purchase is greater than what the economy can produce. The higher demand for goods and services and the lower supply of goods and services is a situation called demand pull inflation. The cost push inflation means the cost of factors of production is high. That is, the price of the goods and services increases, which means there is a decrease in the demand. Next, we are going to see how to measure this inflation. To track and understand inflation, economists uses various measures. The most common is the consumer price index. The consumer price index is a basket of goods and services that represents typical consumers' expenditures. The step one is data collection. Gather data on the prices of goods and services included in this CPI basket. The second step is weighing. Assign weights to each item in the basket based on its relative importance in consumer spending. The third step is Calculation. Calculate the changes in the weighted average price of the basket over a specific time period. The last step is inflation rate. The changes in the weighted average price represents the inflation rate. The next concept we are going to see is impact of inflation. Inflation has multi-faced impact on individuals, business and the economy as a whole. Some of the key impacts include decreased purchasing power, which means inflation erodes the purchasing power of money, meaning your money buys less over a time. Next, reduced saving value. The inflation can diminish the value of savings as the real value of your savings declines. Next, we have investment uncertainty. High inflation can make investment decisions more challenging as future returns becomes uncertain. Next, we have increased business costs. Inflation can lead to higher costs for businesses, such as wages, raw materials, and energy. Now we are going to see the strategies to combat inflation. Government and central banks employ various strategies to manage inflation. Some common approaches include the following. First is monetary policy. Central banks can raise interest rates to make borrowing more expensive, slowing economic activity and reducing demand. Next, we have fiscal policy. Government can reduce spending or increase tax to curb the demand and limit inflation. Next, supply side policies. Policies aimed at increasing productivity, reducing regulations, and promoting competition can help boost supply and contain inflation. The last one is wage and price control. While controversial, government may impose temporary limits on wages and prices to control inflation, but this can lead to shortages and distortions. To conclude that inflation is an essential economic concept to understand. It is a complex phenomenon with numerous causes, types, and impacts. While some inflation is normal and even beneficial for a growing economy, high inflation can be detrimental. Governments and central banks employ a range of strategies to manage inflation and maintain a stable economic environment. Staying informed about inflation and its implications can help individuals to make sound financial decisions and contribute to a healthy economy. I hope this video helps you to understand what is inflation and various perspectives on inflation. Thank you.